Why, hello there. Today we are going to talk about Stephen King's fairy tale. This is his newest book that came out recently, and it's about a good Stephen King-sized book. Oh, just under 600 pages. So this follows the story of this 17-year-old named Charlie. You know, teenager, going to school. He's really great at sports. He plays baseball, basketball, football, and he's going places where he could possibly get like a sports scholarship. His mom passed away because she got hit by a car, and his dad just kind of like spirals into alcoholism. And it gets so bad that his dad loses his job, and Charlie starts worrying about like, oh my God, are we gonna be homeless? Are we gonna live under a bridge? What are we gonna do? And he's really freaked out. And he doesn't know what to do because his dad's absolutely terrible and drunk all the time. And it's really sad and depressing. And so he's very scared. And so one day he gets down and he's just prays. And he's like, please, please help my dad to stop drinking. And if you do, I will do whatever you want me to do. I promise. He prays this, and then the next day, one of his dad's friends who he used to work with, who was also a former alcoholic and part of the AA program, comes and talks to the dad, and the dad decides he's gonna get sober, and he helps him get sober. And so Charlie's like, oh, all right then, well, let me know when I'm just, to God or whatever. He's like, let me know what to do, and I'll do it. In their neighborhood, there is this really creepy house that everyone calls the psycho house, and it's got that vibe going on, the fence is falling down, and the windows are really super dirty, just thick coats of dust you can't even see in there, and there's this terrifying dog, and this older man who just seems really mean. And one day, Charlie is riding his bike by the house and he hears the dog just howling, and it sounds like something is wrong. So he stops and he goes back there and he finds Mr. Bowditch, which is the man who lived there that everyone was kind of afraid of, and his dog. And he's fallen and he's broken his leg. And the dog is an older dog and is not the terror that maybe they once were. He calls an ambulance and basically saves Mr. Bowditch's life. So he decides that he's gonna help Mr. Bowditch as he heals, just help him with whatever he needs. He'll come stay at the house, he'll feed the dog and all this. And he's like, I think this is what I'm supposed to do, this is keeping my promise. And so he's gonna do this. His dad's kind of weirded out about it, and he doesn't want to tell his dad hey, I promise God that, if you quit drinking, that I would do whatever he wanted me to do, and it feels like this is what God wants me to do, or whoever that I prayed to wants me to do, and so I'm gonna do it. So he doesn't want to tell his dad that, and he's afraid if he does, that it might break the spell or whatever. His dad's a little weirded out and worried. The dad kind of wants to meet the guy to make sure he's not super creep, but obviously he broke his leg, so he's not gonna be doing anything too bad to his son. And as it turns out, Mr. Bowditch is not a bad person at all. Him and Charlie really develop a great relationship, as well as Charlie just falls in love with the dog Radar and really ends up caring about this guy. So he helps take care of him, and then one day he is let in on the secret of this other world that exists, and he's told a few things about it. He has to decide if he wants to go there or not. And this is a cursed world, and it is a fairy tale world. But he ends up going because there's something that he wants to change or prevent if he can. And it's a really heartfelt thing that he wants to do. I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to, spoilers. So he ends up going to this fairy tale world, and the characters you meet along the way are very vivid, and the curse that is on this land is it's very sad. Everything is kind of gray and depressing, and there's this horrible person that rose up called the Flight Killer that kind of took everything over because he wanted all this power, and there's all this weird stuff with family dynamics that comes into the fairy tale stuff. And then you have a lot of characters that are similar to characters in fairy tales, and a lot of the stuff and how Charlie overcomes things is stuff that he remembers that his mom had told him when she was still alive. So he goes there to see if he can prevent or fix this thing, and it's such a great journey. The characters are just so whimsical and weird. The tale itself, I liked the beginning, the middle, and the end. And I thought the ending was really good. And you know, like sometimes Stephen King gets a bad rap for having bad endings of his story. Well, this one was really freaking good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. 5-star read for me. I love stuff that's of like a fantasy nature, and especially with the fairy tale elements to it. We're like kind of seeing similarities in characters that have been in classic fairy tales and such. If you like dark fairy tale type fantasy books, you may just like Fairy Tale by Stephen King. If that is something you like, the next video coming up will be a video of a book of that sort. So stick around, check it out. Also, if you had fun hanging out, boop that like button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.